Questions of immigration and national identity have been an interest of mine for a long time. My mom's family is of immigrant background, and conversations that I had with her and with my grandmother growing up kind of made me more interested in the way that politics shapes national identity and how movement from one place to another influences sense of belonging and sense of personal and national identity. In Europe right now, there's a large conversation about immigration, about social cohesion, about the rise of far-right parties. France has a very significant Muslim population, and in the most recent election, it was really a point of contention between different parties and kind of propelled the temporary rise of a far-right leader. So that's something that I will be able to explore more in depth. I designed my ICWA fellowship to explore the implementation of these measures in public high schools, where the government has focused on applying them in suburbs of cities like Paris, Lyon, Marseille, that have large immigrant populations. So I will be in part looking at the specific implementation of these measures, but also be looking at what it's like to be a student of immigrant background, whether your family practices Islam or doesn't, but that it factors to a certain extent into your identity, and how that plays into the day-to-day life of students today in France. The ICWA Fellowship will give me the time and space to explore what are overlapping and complex issues that are somewhat contentious in French society today. And they're also unique to the school system, but the school system doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's influenced by policy. So by providing me with 2 years to do this specific project, I'll be able to speak with members of civil society, community organizations that deal with immigrants and that try to combat racism and discrimination, and then also speak with education policy officials to kind of try to trace the way that the policy was designed and how it's actually being implemented on the ground and the results it's having. I think that from an American perspective, a lot about immigration in Europe, and especially in France, it's complex and it's different than how we approach immigration in the United States. In France, there really is this idea that yes, you can come to the country, but we want you to be French. And that diverges from American notions of multiculturalism. And I think that, combined with the growing debate about domestic radicalization in Western European countries like France, I think an American audience needs more clarity on that. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, I think that there are a lot of personal stories of Muslim youth in France that also need clarification. And so I hope to kind of bridge the gap and bring those stories to the United States while also educating Americans about different approaches to immigration and why they're shaping political trends in Europe today.